how to make a sales pitch through email. A lot of you guys are probably wondering how we do so much revenue through email. Can I sell without even opening my mouth? Yes, you can. We do a lot of $10,000, even $100,000 sales through just using email. In this video, I'm going to show you more about how we do that. Let's dive in. All right, the first email was actually sent, or considered to be an email, in 1971. Since then, we use email a lot. It's obviously a staple platform in all forms of marketing and communication in general. It's estimated that there have been over 300 billion emails sent and received per day in 2020 alone last year, and it's only going to increase. It's supposed to go to, I think, 350 billion emails a day in the next like 10, 20 years, which is crazy. It's a huge amount of email. So keeping that in mind, I'm going to teach you a few ways to use salesmanship in your emails to make sure you actually get sales. All right, the first thing to keep in mind here before we dive in is that sales is sales is sales is sales. Selling an email is no different than selling face-to-face. Right? The only difference is you're not opening your mouth, they're just reading the text, they're reading the copy. All right, the first email was sent in 1971, and we use email like crazy. The first email was sent out, I think it was just supposed to say something really simple. Now we have 300 billion emails being sent a day. And so it's obviously a staple platform. I'm going to show you 6 things to keep in mind while you're trying to sell through email. Let's get into it. All right, when we're doing our big email campaigns, the first thing you got to remember is just like normal selling, it's about storytelling. All right, think about story as the main vehicle that causes the sale, because that's true. And when you're telling the story, this is a big classic mistake people make when they write email. They're too perfect. Make mistakes, make typos, do not be correct in actual English. Like, I'm telling you right now that marketing English is different than English. Marketing writing, marketing languaging. And we write a very short sentence, then we double space. Then we write a short little sentence, then we double space. I make typos on purpose, all right? We do that. Every time we make a typo inside of our emails, our sales go up. It's really, really weird. Do not be perfect. It is not the same way you wrote stuff for school. It's not the same way you wrote stuff for college. And this is very hard to get through people's heads when they're actually writing emails and email copy. Do not be perfect. In fact, voluntarily and intentionally be imperfect. Funny enough, that has always increased our conversions, all right? And we've had a lot of case studies about it. We're not the only ones. When you're doing it, make sure you're telling story and understand that story is the mechanism overall, whether that's through email, whether that is through spoken, whether you're watching this video, story is what does selling, all right? It's not about perfectly written copy. In fact, be imperfect. It's all still about storytelling. Email tip number 2 here. Guys, end with open loops. I love the show Seinfeld. Seinfeld is amazing. It's one of my favorite shows ever, but it's funny that it's a show. Because I'm sure you've heard the story of how Seinfeld became a show. It kind of was a joke. They were literally trying to make a show about nothing, right? And take an everyday thing. Someone wakes up on the bad side of the bed, they have a bad day, they spill coffee. They want to make an episode about that. They wanted to make a show about everyday things, but at the end, leave a little bit of an open loop, which means a little bit of curiosity. We don't want to close every single email answering everyone's questions, okay? So what we do is we tend to write emails in 5 to 10 email sequences, okay? So it'll be 5 to 10 emails. And what we do is in between each one of those emails, we are opening the loop to the next email. So I might say something like this. Hey, thanks for reading this email. At the end of this email, you're gonna see tips for X, Y, and Z. And actually in the next email, the subject line is gonna be 1, 2, and 3. Watch out for it because I'm gonna teach you, A, B, and C. Right? Just that even, right there. What are they doing now? That tunes the eye, that trains the eye, it trains them to look for it, and my open rate on the next email gets higher. Stop closing loops, all right? Many people do that. Keep the loops open and keep the story rolling, right? And that's why shows like Seinfeld can have so many seasons when there's not really a plot, right? And they just go subplot to subplot to subplot, open loop to open loop to open loop between each email. All right, email tip number 3 here. Make sure that you actually put your offer in the email. I have a lot of people who have a lot of apprehension over this. They will say, how am I going to get him to see the offer? Just like write it. Just keep it simple. Same thing you would do if you were face-to-face. You're actually just putting it in copy. In fact, the late, great Claude Hopkins from the 1800s said that sales, right, copy is no more than salesman in Word. That's it. You're being a salesperson. And unless you can own that, your email is probably not going to convert. So at some point in your email sequence, put your actual offer. Write it down. Here's what you're going to get if you choose to move forward. And you're going to get this, this, and that. Would you like to move forward? Here's a button. Just very simply. You can do that imperfectly and accidentally make money, guys, all right? But if you don't, the chances of that are not very high. I remember once I was riding my bike from college to our little apartment, and because I was too poor to have a car. And I remember I was studying marketing like crazy, and I was like, why on earth am I still broke? I'm studying all this stuff, why am I still broke? And for some reason on that bike ride, it hit me, where are you asking for people's money? And I was like, oh crap, nowhere. You couldn't accidentally pay me, right? There wasn't an order performed somewhere. There was no place I was asking the internet or the marketplace for cash. And that was my bad, no matter how good my products are, right? And I went back and I fixed it. So I'm telling you, in your email, even imperfectly, make your offer. Put your offer in there, otherwise no sales will happen anyway. Hey guys, before I go into these last few points, please subscribe. I'm begging you to subscribe. I just wiped tears away. I'm asking you to subscribe. Hit the little like button as well, the little notification, so you guys can get daily videos. We put this out every day for you. In the comments, I also would love to know, what's the longest email sequence you've ever heard of? I'm gonna give you the answer later on. Make a guess down below. Email tip number 4. If you guys ever been watching, I love the Super Bowl. I love Thanksgiving football. That's really the only sports I watch. I really don't. But I love whenever you're watching and then they cut to a car commercial. You ever notice that every single car commercial, there's always a sale going on? This is the sale happening here. This is the sale happening there. Then you go to Thanksgiving sale, right? Then there'll be President's Day sale. Then there'll be Christmas sale. There's always a sale going on, right? The same thing is true when you're writing email. Scarcity and urgency, baby. Russell Brunson actually said once as well that no one does anything without a little urgency and scarcity in their life. You gotta give people a reason to act. So if you wrote your offer down, you put it in the email, give them a reason to act. Hey, if you act in the next 24 hours, I'll give you X, Y, and Z, right? Or if you don't act in the next 24 hours, we're not gonna give you bonus 1, 2, and 3, right? Does that make sense? Everyone needs a little scarcity and urgency in their life. Everyone, right? Most people probably wouldn't show up at the office at 9 a.m. if they weren't required to do so. There's a little bit of urgency there, right? Does that make sense? And there are really awesome ways to do this that are very ethical, and they're very unethical ways, right? And slime balls of the internet that will do it as well, all right? Find ethical ways to add glaze a little urgency and scarcity inside your emails, and watch all of your stuff double in conversion. Email tip number 5. This one is simple, but it's hard for people to do. Email every day. If you do no other content, you're not running ads, nothing else, send out a value piece of email every single day, especially if you're trying to sell people, right? Put out lots of content, try and help them with their actual stuff. I've done a lot of mini courses. I'm like, hey, 5-day mini course, or 21-day mini course. And I'm just sending it to them, right? It's just an email that we drop on out to them. When you start selling, be open about the fact that you're selling, right? If you're feeling shame, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to ask for money, they're not going to pay for it anyway. So you don't be open about it. Sell. Selling's amazing. It's one of the most prestigious careers on the planet, in my opinion. This is the tip though. On the final day, you're putting out emails, you're actively asking for the sale. On the final day, you should be sending an email out, 3 to 5 emails on the last day. 3 to 5 emails on the last day, minimum of 2. Oh my gosh, right, but 3 to 5. I'll tell you, I personally have had to hang up around, like, oh, I'm gonna annoy people. They're gonna leave my email list. If they opt out, they weren't gonna be there anyway. Does that make sense? Okay. But 3 to 5. Why? Because there's 300 billion emails sent a day, man. How many of you actually have 0 emails in your inbox right now watching this? I doubt it. I can't get under like 3,000. I even have filters galore, right? And some of them aren't good. Some of them are spam for sure, absolutely. And you're the same way. But you're not. Hopefully you're not. If you're a scammer or a spammer, get off my list. I don't want you here, all right? All right, but you see what I'm saying though? There's so many people emailing. It's so loud out there that if you're not actively asking for the sale and you're not actively getting in front of them, they're going to send their money to someone else who may not serve them like you. Russell has called it your moral obligation to sell. Your final day of the email campaign, mail them 3 to 5 times, reminding them what they get if they don't, and what they'll lose if they don't move forward. 3 to 5 times, got it? I just gave you all a raise. Email tip number 6. This is a very, very simple one, but it is one of the most violated things in all of marketing. Guys, when you open up your email, what's the job of the subject line? What's the subject line for? The job of the subject line is to sell the opening of the email. That's it. Not the end product, not even the click inside. We only sell the single next step. So the subject line sells the open of the email. When you open up the email and you start reading it, what's the job of the body of the email? right? The copy of the email. What's the job of that? The job of it is to sell a click. When they click and they go to the next page, what's the job of the first headline? To sell consuming the sales message. What's the job? The problem that people have, a massive, massive issue inside of email, is that they sell in the subject line the end product, right? It's like you got them to the 1 yard line and you just sold the end zone on the entire opposite side of the field, right? This will kill conversions night and day all the time, okay? Do not sell in your subject line the product. You're selling the open. When you open the email, you're selling the next step. The button is selling the next thing. You only ever sell the single next step in front of them. That's true for all funnels, all marketing, and especially in email. Guys, I got a free presentation here for you on how we use email and copy and content and internet to make sales. Go to internetlaunchsecrets.com and you'll see 3 of my most profitable campaigns, email included in all of them. Super cool. I think you'll find it really fascinating. It's made us millions of dollars, and you'll get to see specifically what those 3 campaigns have been for me over the last 3 years through pandemic. I know you'll enjoy it. And by the way, the answer is I have seen the longest email sequence has been 5 years. 5 years, a daily email pre-written out. You join the list, you get an email every day for 5 years. Guys, go to internetlaunchsecrets.com. The link is also down below if you don't want to type.